did that just happen? Now I don't know if you know what happened, but it's big. We just witnessed something absolutely incredible that happened from both sides. I mean, it is something that literally happened only a couple of times in history. And by pulling it off, as well as letting it happen, it showed that Riot does care. So, just about the coolest piece of news dropped yesterday. Simon, the original founder of Hypixel, as well as Hytale, tweeted out the best outcome the entire Hypixel community was hoping for. You see, super quick catching up on the Hytale situation. In 2020, Riot Games acquired Hytale in hopes of pushing the game towards being the next Minecraft or Roblox, or any other game that functions like a whole separate engine these days. And seeing just how much Roblox is dominating everything else, it proves that Riot's original instinct was correct. Turning a game into a playground where people can make all kinds of other games was the right choice. And it would have been greatly profitable if they pushed Hytale in that direction. Now, fast forward 5 years, after which Riot Games poured a lot of money into it, with the game somehow not really being even close to releasing, while at the same time we shouldn't forget the fact that Riot is working on potentially multiple MMOs in the background, and altogether it simply didn't make sense to throw in another perpetual project on top of all of that. And so, in 2025, only 5 months ago, it was officially announced that Hytale was cancelled. This news made the original co-founder of Hytale sad. And in his tweets following these events, he mentioned that there might be something to be done about this. Of course, since that announcement, the entire Hytale team was essentially liquidated, and people started posting portfolios as they started looking for a new job, which is where a couple of interesting images surfaced. For example, it became obvious that Riot did plan on shoving their IPs into the minigames around Hytale. I mean, that is literally Scion in Hytale. But alas, the project was moving too slowly and it didn't make sense to keep funding it from Riot's side. Again, especially not if they are already spinning other projects in a similar genre on a side. And so the entire thing was dropped. Now, fast forward 5 months from that, and something happened. The last tweet from Simon we got was in August, which is where he mentioned that he was in talks with Riot Games about the acquisition of Hytale, and as a result, he wouldn't be able to say much publicly. Well, 4 months after that, we got this. We did it. Hytale is saved. We have acquired Hytale from Riot Games. Huge thanks to Riot for working with me to make this happen. They wanted what's best for players, and that's for us to eventually play the game. This game has always been close to my heart, and I am excited to bring it back home. Real talk, Hytale isn't some polished AAA release waiting in the wings. It is messy, it's janky, and there is a lot of work to be done. My plan? To get it out as soon as possible. No more waiting. You'll get to play it, rough edges and all. It won't be perfect on day one. My hope is that together we'll shape it into something truly special. Thanks for believing in Hytale, time to get to work. Follow Hytale for more updates. Now, I don't want to oversell this, but this is insanity! You see, many people may not know that after you sell your IP to a great corporation, the chance of you buying it back is 0. And I mean quite literally, this almost never happened in the entire history of humankind. And that is because in the industry we have what people call greedy companies. You see, many of the big corporations try to acquire as many IPs as possible with the hopes that one day that IP will become valuable and they will be able to rank in more profits. In a way, it is not too different from collecting Black Lotus from Magic the Gathering and just waiting to see if eventually it's gonna be really valuable. As an example, this is one of the reasons why Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard and now they got all of their games under their wings. Or why the company known as the Embracer Group, ironic name, bought a lot of different games, including just Square Enix. But this is also why the vast majority of the gaming IPs belong to NCSoft. I mean, they even bought WildStar, after which it died, And now you have like 15 posts a day on their Reddit of people asking if they can buy the Wildstar IP to kickstart a new server. Only for everyone to stay disappointed because nope! NCSoft has never sold any of their IPs. And so after learning about all of this, to have a corporation such as Riot Games buy an IP, then drop it, and then sell it back not for profits but to see if the developers can make the game real, is like finding a unicorn in an industry that is full of layoffs. Wait. And again, as Simon mentioned himself, if we were talking about EA or any other kind of a company, the buyback would likely never happen. But Riot let the Hytale team go wild because they wanted to support fellow developers. And also there is the chance they didn't want to burn bridges. I mean, what if Hytale goes big and Riot can shove their IP into it? And so, just so you know that this is no joke, we did get an official post from Hytale. A new and exciting chapter for Hytale begins today. We are thrilled to announce that we have acquired Hytale from Riot Games. While it didn't make sense for them to continue developing it in its existing form, they ultimately wanted what's best for players. And that is for us to eventually play a revised version of the game. We are grateful to Riot Games for making this possible. Over the past few weeks, we have rehired more than 30 developers who know the game inside out, with additional returns expected in the coming days. Together, we are going back to the original vision for Hytale. We are fully independent and personally committed to funding Hytale for the next 10 years. Transactions like this are rare in the games industry. Thank you to everyone for keeping hope alive. Hytale is saved. Now once again, I really want to underline the fact that yes, these transactions are rare. In fact, even if you try googling any kind of an IP buyback, it just never happens. And so, in this post, they also talk about their talking with Riot. We made an offer to Riot Games without seeing the full state of the project. Knowing the massive risks involved, we dove in head first. No risk, no Hytale. We negotiated a deal, rehired 30 developers, secured funding, and made the goal to return to the legacy engine and old original vision. So in other words, they know that if they wanna push the game forward, they have to scale back down. Which also means let's go back from the complex engine to the legacy one and allow the original devs who know the game to go wild. And as you'll see, they are committed into making this a long-term project. We're focused on building the game we always wanted to play, and one that we'd be proud of for our kids to play too. Philip and I are personally committing funding for the next 10 years. This is our passion project and we are here to make it last. Now, fun fact, according to some of the leaks and people just talking about the entire Hytale situation, was Riot to fund this game for the next 10 years, that would likely be hundreds of millions. But again, because the Hytale team likely went back to the original size, it should be fine. But still, having the funds for 10 years is crazy. We expect our roadmap to evolve as we learn more about the game's needs and how players respond. It's already changing. What we have today is different from what we've had a few weeks ago as we have been exploring the game. We'll keep it agile and flexible and try our best to avoid promises we can't keep. We are choosing to focus on making a great game first, rather than a perfect engine. We know the risk of releasing an unfinished product. First impressions matter and it is hard to change minds. But this is a risk we must take. We need your help creating content, reporting bugs, giving feedback and building with us. No risk, no Hytale. Our initial priority is polishing the living world, modding, core mechanics and sandbox experience. Once the world feels alive and systems are stable, we'll shift hard into adventure mode and minigames development to create the true Hytale experience. So, in other words, the team is really locked into getting the game into our hands. And first, we're getting the good old classic Minecraft experience from the good old days, which is when I played. That was like 15 years ago. The last patch I played is when they added anvils. I'm old. But then the post goes into the current state of the game. Here they talk about the fact that technically the game does have two engines. There is the legacy engine, which is the C# and Java version. The issue with this one is that it would only work on PC for now, but while the game was in Riot's hand, they also developed their C++ engine. This completely makes sense because C++ is the language you use for Unreal Engine. which is what Riot uses for everything. The benefit of that engine is that it would work cross-platform by default. But it is a lot more complex, so the team confirmed they are going back to the legacy version. That's the one everyone knows, and that's the one that will allow them to push everything out faster. However, it does also mean that we will likely not see a console port for a while. It is not impossible, it's just slower. On top of this, they mentioned that the game already has about 100 NPCs, including thousands of items and blocks. There is unbalanced loot, there are rough edges, and there are bugs. I'm gonna assume literal bugs as well as coding bugs. On top of this, there won't be any official minigames on launch. Even though these were part of the original Hytale vision, they need to make the core game stable first. But the community should be entirely ready to make their own minigames and servers as much as they like. In fact, the team is kinda hoping that the community becomes way better at making minigames than them. Connected to this, they also mentioned that they don't really wanna scale up too fast because bureaucracy is gonna kill a lot of the momentum. And they also mentioned that in the last few days, they made a lot of progress towards making an early access version. As we move into full production mode, as we complete the transfer of Hytale, you'll see accelerated development in the coming weeks. We'll release detailed patch notes in coming days so you can see the full scope of improvements. What is awesome is that the team already started posting some teasers of the zones on the official Hytale YouTube. So it is crazy to see just how faster the project gets once you go back to the indie level. Speaking of which, they also mentioned the team. In the leadership there is Simon, the original co-founder, there is Philip, the other co-founder, there is Kevin, the technical lead who was there from the original day one, and there is Patrick. Yeah, I'll be honest, I couldn't find if Patrick was on the team before. So at the very least, 3 of the 4 leaders are the original devs. And to continue this streak, as they mentioned, they already hired back 30 of the original developers, meaning that once again the team knows how the engine works and they can be fast with it. And using that knowledge, they really want to focus on one thing, and that is official modding support. To be more specific, they tell us what they are aiming for. It is possible to mod almost everything in Hytale, content and server side. Non-developers can create impressive experiences with minimal technical knowledge. A few guides or videos will be enough for most people to start creating. We will provide server source code access within several months, once we are legally ready to do so. Dedicated server support and data-driven content configuration. We're being mindful of backward compatibility as we iterate. You can create your own custom servers, maps, adventures, and so on. More details will be given in a future blog post. After this, they mentioned that they are expecting to be moving fast, which also means that they will be giving us a lot of updates, which unfortunately also technically means there is a good chance that things will break. After which, they give us an entire list of the upcoming things they will be showing us. Can you imagine this at a corpo level? So we'll be getting gameplay footage and screenshots, detailed patch notes from our recent work, modding capabilities and roadmap blog post, pricing details for different editions, plenty of updates and communication, as well as early access release date. Yes, we don't have the date yet. Which brings us to the final thoughts. Hytale has had a long and challenging journey. It has taken longer than anyone hoped, and it has changed a lot along the way. But here we are, starting over with a 4-year-old build, a small dedicated team, a community that refused to give up, and a vision that's aligned with a new reality. It is not going to be easy. This is not going to be fast. This is not going to be perfect. But it is going to be ours. Built together, one feature at a time, one bug fix at a time, one mod at a time. Hytale lives. Thank you from the entire Hytale team. I have to say, what a speech. But I also have to say, I cannot believe this actually happened. The history of the entire industry said it wouldn't. But you know what? It seems like Riot as the corporation kinda showed everyone that they might care. Sure, I wouldn't be surprised if the legal team at Riot was ripping out their hair because they sold IP that one day would have value. In the gaming industry of all places. But then there had to be someone at a higher position who said, nope, let's give it to them because they seem to be cool guys. Which, and I will likely be speaking for everyone, is an appreciated move. And now everyone will be just hiding under the tables, hoping the doomsday scenario does not happen. I mean, just imagine the Cube World game happening again and this game getting cancelled twice. That would be funny.